Good evening and welcome back to another episode of the Purpose and Powerful podcast. Tonight, we're talking about being committed to the uncommitted. I'm your host, Erica Lester. I'm here with my co-host.
The real Jabril Wilson, how's it going?
Going great. So what are we talking about tonight? You have situations where you have been in relationships where you love the person more, you're more invested than the other person, or you love them and they never read the words, I love you back. All of those things. Maybe you're committed to someone that's incarcerated, or for whatever reasons and purposes, you cannot be together to match the same energy, love, and commitment. That's what we're talking about.
That's awesome. So let me ask you something. And
Yeah.
I'm sure our viewers may wonder, is it also committed to uncommitted and also maybe committed to unavailable? Or is that
Yes. Because
uh,
you're committed in your head, the other person doesn't see it that way.
and unavailable, I'm talking about that one where they're committed to someone else. That's what I mean by unavailable.
Yes.
Different levels.
We we will do a Cliff Notes version of it tonight because you have to join us next week for the side chick or distraction.
The next on another episode.
Yeah.
That's not right. I don't think that's coming up next week, right?
No, it's not next, but we will be
Giving them
doing
a teaser. You're telling them,
it.
oh, okay.
Yes.
Stay tuned. You got to look at every episode, even back to the Barbie, our
Yeah.
very first one. But all right,
Absolutely.
let me cut you off. I just thought about
Oh
that.
no, that was a great question. We have no boundaries here on the podcast. So
Okay. Okay. So you have a question?
Jabril, Dr.
Yes.
Jabril, have you found yourself in a situation where you have been more committed than the person you're with?
Yes. And I would speak for most people. I think that when you want a relationship to work, this idea of 50-50 or you do your part, if you want it to work and the person is not responding, it forces you to be the one to call the most or communicate the most or give the most because you want it to work. Even if you realize that it's not the right situation or person for you because you don't want to let it go or you're not ready to let it go, you become over committed, which can be a big problem.
Absolutely. So I was in a relationship for 18 months with this young man, brilliant, very intelligent. And the situation was this is my first relationship after my second divorce. And I really wanted to take this relationship slow, to find my way in it, to find how I would feel about him. And I wasn't in a rush, but it was a situation where he was graduating medical school and his parents were rushing the situation a little sooner because he was really considering practicing overseas, and they were like, well, Erica, how do you feel about it? And I'm like, well, I'm not trying to rush him. I'm not trying to push him. There are certain things that I picked up about him, that he was going to be somebody that moved slow in romance, moved slow, but it's somebody that was very certain. So once he determined where he was, then it would be that. So I knew that I didn't want a situation where I really wanted him to be the rebound guy, and I really wanted it to work for so many reasons, like to not say, oh, this is only be a fly by night situation. But the reason why I was more invested in the relationship was because I was settled in my career. I had been married before, and I knew the long game. But I had to take a back seat to saying, because he was not at those same stages, that I was going to have to let love take its time. So when we got more forced, and now I'm having to kind of confront him with the feelings because we weren't saying these feelings, even though I was feeling a certain kind of way. It didn't really come out. So at the end of it all, there was no exchanges of a joint I love you. But 15 months after the relationship, he texted me, I do miss you. And I was like, really? But 3 months after, he actually was the one to break it with me. 3 months after, he was like, do you miss me? And I was like, oh, we're not playing. I sent him this text message. What do you think? And that got me right where I needed. But at the end of the day,
Did
here's
you
what I
miss
want to
him?
say to what you said. Is because, again, I knew who I was. I knew what I wanted. I knew the love that I represented. And with him, I found out how to love somebody unconditionally, because waiting to be able to say these feelings and these thoughts and emotions helped me put them in perspective to say, if I'm gonna be with somebody, they have to be all in with me. No holding back.
Well, tell me real quick, did you miss him? Because he's
I did fiercely, but I had a situation. Situation was I had a dream 2 weeks before the breakup that I recognized that I was feeling like I felt more for him than he cared for me. And in the
worst
dream,
worst place
we
to
would
be.
always be able to get engaged, but we couldn't get married, right? So in the dream, I alluded to this before. I saw his wife, and I was with my husband in this dream, and looking across at them at the dinner table, I saw how unhappy she was. And I was like, yeah. So when I woke up, I was like, Lord, you're gonna have to do it because I love him too much to break up with him, and I don't want to be the one to hurt him. So you have to let him do it. He has to be the one to break up with me, which hurt, but I didn't fight it. I didn't fight it at all.
So emotionally, it did get you, it took a toll, but you knew it was for the best.
Because he'll never know how much I cared about him. That's the day. That's the bittersweet part. Even
Mhm.
if he were to watch this episode, he still wouldn't get it.
But what he
There are
made,
conversations we've had post that time that he even asked me one time, he said, well, what were the things that you loved about me? But he didn't really put it in a context. And I said, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you what other women would look for. Is not what I looked for and fell in love with you about. So that I'll choose to keep that to myself.
okay. So you don't want him to know.
No, it's not that I don't want him to know. It's for such a time as that, for the time that we were in and where I was in my life, especially emotionally, that was a very unique situation. And it won't help him because the things like, again, the things that I looked for, the reason why I fell in love with him will not be the same things that other women post me would find. I was able to be at his stage in his life that they wouldn't experience because
Mm.
he's outside that stage now.
See.
Intriguing, right? I
Good.
know.
I would think about a lesson learned of reflecting on your experiences, Erica. What key lessons have you learned about love, commitment, and personal boundaries?
What I've learned about love is you have to have your definition of it, but be willing to allow the person to love you in their own way. And you have to determine whether or not that's acceptable for you, if it's enough for you. The boundaries part was I learned that I couldn't push him into a direction. I think as women, we typically always make the mistake of wanting the man to tell you how he feels about you when he's not ready. So
Mm,
then it does, but men, as we learned in our last episode, when you were asking me who has the biggest ego, men or women,
mm,
that's getting into ego territory. You're wanting him to tell you because you want him to be the first to say it. And it's always been historically, societally, rather, that, oh, he told me he loved me, he kissed me, blah, blah, blah. And that is a fairy tale because
mhm.
real love does not follow those same steps.
No, you're right.
Know your whys and know how the biggest thing I learned from that
What's that?
made me love him unconditionally. I found out what are my must-haves in love.
You said you say it again for us? I missed that.
I found out what were my must-haves in love.
And love?
Yes, my love cannot be unrequited. I have to know where the person stands. As long as I have sure footing and they're communicating with me, I can love at their level. But it taught me the type of love that I had to have.
No, and it's no compromising on that. You know that.
No. And love can't be superficial. It can't be in the conditions that most people have. They say, oh, well, if he doesn't do this, then I'm out. Well, that's not really love because now you have a robot. Robot, that's a child, right? You have to give the person the flexibility to love you in their own way, but being upfront and being true to say, this is what I need. And let them pick and choose whether they can meet that or not. And then you have to decide if what they're giving you is sufficient.
Hmm. Well, it seems like somebody has something in the chat. Looks like said as you move forward, or as anyone moves forward, it said, how has your perspective of relationships and commitment changed, I guess, over the years, and what are you looking for, Erica, in the future? Because I think they asked about you, Erica. So.
um, Perspectives and relationships and commitment. So in our episode,
Sorry, and this is Bo from Texas.
okay. Um,
Bo, oh, Bo.
so perspectives and relationships and commitment.
Mhm.
In our prior episode, we are talking about the one that got away. I said what I really liked about my friend and former love was the support that I got. And then I also learned there's a certain language that I need from a man. You know, a friend of mine once said that the reason why she fell in love with her husband when we're dating is because he put her in her place. I think all women want that nudge to just be like, that's my man. Like, not so boss you around, but just says, I am going to tell you what's unpopular, what you need to hear. Even if I have to offend you, not disrespectfully, but this is what I would need. So, like, for example, I work a lot of hours during tax season. And so my friend said to me, well, if I was married to you, I would want to know why you feel like the need to be up at that office that late at night. And once I assess that, I'm going to spend a couple nights up there with you while you work, or say, okay, babe, that's good. When tax season's over, your clients, your staff, and all these people, they're going to need to know that you're not going to be there for 2 weeks. So he was forcing the support, but he was like, it's going to be about us, which is going to be about me when it's all said and done. And I like that. I mean, that spoke to me so well because it was like, it didn't take down my strength. It didn't assassinate my character. It didn't disrespect me. He was like, I'm pulling rank. Because if you love me and this is my position, then I'm enforcing the rule because I'm the man. Because I have said many times that I like a man that's a leader. And so that's saying to me, I love you, but I'm gonna need you to take a step back and let me lead. Because if you're saying that I'm your man, I'm pulling rank right now. I'm not asking you how we need to have it at the end of tax season. I'm telling you that I'm gonna support you. And I'm telling you how I need you to support me when it's over. So I said,
You like
you're right.
that?
I loved it.
So most women have been forced into these double roles, and it's very confusing because you can't really be two places mentally, physically, or emotionally at once. And women have been tagged of being multitaskers, which is out of balance and it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out to the best. It's not bringing out the best part of you. And so when a man says that, even though you might be used to being the boss, it is nice to see someone step up, incorporate your business first, because that is your first baby. But say afterwards, this is you and I. This is our time, our tax season.
That's all right.
Tax you up. We want to get you. That's what it sounded like to me when you heard tax season, and he said, "Is you mine for 2 weeks?" I love that, and a man that is secure enough and loyal enough to support you first, then take care of you afterwards. It's a great man. Is it somebody that is available, or is he?
No.
Oh,
No, that's what I'm saying is that's what I would be looking for in a future partner because that's how he presented it to me. Also taught me this is the type of man that I need, and that's what a man that I can respect would say to me, right? Because that's knowing me. Like I said, women, we love support. We need that. We need that because it's a reinforcement of how you love us, right? But it's also saying that this is the thing. I love you. If you say that I'm the lead, the priest of your home, the man of your life, you should be able to pull rank in some ways. I think the problem is how people go about it. Like women, reverse. Oh, babe, you're working too many hours and you're up late and da, 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 blah, blah, blah. You know what? Try this for size, ladies. Just a suggestion. How about I have something nice? You know, your husband has to work late, your boo, whatever. I'm not really recommending this for a relationship. You got to talk to me a regular relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend stuff, because I think there are different levels. But husband got to work late. How about instead of you complaining and whining about it, when he comes home, why don't you act like he just stepped in the door when it's like 5:30 instead of 10, 11 o'clock? Babe, have you eaten? You know, what you want me to, what you want me to join you in the shower? Like
Sure.
change it up.
Or touch him and ask him. Rub his back.
Yeah.
Think like a mistress.
Right. See, the mistress, here's the problem, right? We're gonna
Hate to
get into
say
the
that.
side chicks. We're gonna cliff notes this thing, okay? Like, the thing about it, that man is finding her to be a safe space because she's doing what you won't do, which is something so simple. Women think that the man is only going to the side piece or the mistress for the sex. No, she's becoming the safety ear to listen to the problems and the concerns and the issues and the day and everything that he's going through. And he's going to tell her, it's like Samson Delilah. He's going to lay his head in her lap and tell her everything that's about the things that you will listen to. And guess what else he's going to talk about? He's going to talk about what you don't do. And the thing is, we have to be honest, right? We have to be accountable. We know that man has told us what he doesn't like already. So it's not a surprise. It is a shock. It is disrespect that he ran and gave that time, intention, body that belonged to you to someone else. But you can't really say he never told you what he was upset about. Rare is the case where a man didn't express in some way, form, or fashion that he was displeased. And I'm not saying deal with all of that, take all of that, or not address all of that. I'm saying you can give him that everlasting work about how you feel about it. But the thing is, take some accountability. Like, babe, I've seen you unhappy for a while. I need you to talk to me. Because everybody wants to be heard. So you do this back and forth, tit for tat thing. And he's just giving her play by play. She's gonna have to come up and do all this extra stuff. All this mistress has to do is just listen and do everything he said you don't do. Even if you don't do everything he said don't do, just do one thing the one thing that a man keeps complaining about is the one thing that's most important to him.
Mm. And don't look at it as a complaint, maybe a concern.
Well, we say complaint because people miss the fact that the first time he mentioned it was a concern. The fact that it's repeated concerns makes it a complaint.
I see.
I saw that Jay Peterson asked about if my comment about the support in the tax season example was from the man that got away. Yes, is the answer.
Oh, so those of you who didn't know that, and she could have said no, but she wanted to be honest. So we again, purpose and powerful transparency edition. All of us, we always transparent. We always tell you, and that was our last question. So I wanted to sneak it in. I didn't think I thought you were going to sneak out of here and not answer it and address it. So Jade, yes, people keep. Yes, people are asking. Somebody said, "Am I still married?" Okay, so let me clear. I am married. I was previously married, and this is her name, Rebecca. Rebecca, I am previously married, but that marriage didn't work out. I got married again to Keisha Wilson, happily married, and I met Erica through to Keisha. So this is how we all started podcast. So that's how that happened. So no, I'm not available. I don't even know if that's what she's asking me. I'm just saying that I'm, because we're talking about committed and uncommitted. So I'm committed, fully committed. And it's funny, yesterday I lost my ring for about 5 hours and I was going crazy. So ironic. So I'm so happy that I found it. about 1:30 this morning because I wanted to have it on for purpose and powerful. So yes. And when we talk about marriage, I'll let Erica, our beloved host, tell you what's happening next week.
Absolutely. So if you missed the one that got away, you definitely want to check that out because it's really going to help you understand what we discuss next week, the soulmate search. I know that you really want that. You're looking for that special partner, and that partner is out there. But guess what? You need to be in the place, in the perspective, in the mindset of your form that you need to be able to attract that person. You also need to be able to recognize that person. And how are you going to be able to do that without a list of the traits that you feel like are most important to you?
Mm.
That's what that soulmate search is all about. So, any last words? The real Jabril, uncommitted to the uncommitted.
No, I just say that the first person that you need to be committed to is yourself. Be true to yourself, what you want and what you don't want. And you have to remember that how you see yourself is how others are going to see you, and that's who you're going to attract. So make sure you're at a great place because that can affect not just your commitments in relationships, but your soul and your soulmate search. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful night, and
Thank
we'll see you
you.
next
All right. Peace.
week. Bye.
Thanks for all of you who tuned in and asked all your questions. We look forward to that soon as well. We welcome that.
Absolutely.